Hi, I'm Eugene Berger. You know, I tell my magic students you should have a piece of magic that you carry with you at all times that you can use to amaze people. Take the bills, don't squeeze them too tightly. How much money total do you have in your hand? $21. That's exactly what I would say. Well, let me get in here without breaking your little finger, because people get possessive with other people's money. If I took the dollar, you would have the 20, because that's what we've observed. You have the one, and that's why magic is. For over 30 years, I've been carrying a version of Grant's slow motion bill transposition in my wallet. And probably 4 or 5 years ago, I finally found what I think is the perfect method to do it. It never fails to amaze people, and best of all, it looks like real magic. Hello, I'm Eugene Berger, and welcome to this teaching tape. You know, every so often I will run into a stage magician who will say to me, "Oh, I don't do any close-up." I have to tell you, I don't understand that point of view at all, because even stage magicians get to perform, or are sometimes asked to perform, for producers, for backstage guests, for lots of people. And the idea that I would say to someone who asked me to do some magic for them, "I'm sorry, all of my props are on stage," that just doesn't make me a magician at all. No, I think a magician should be able to perform magic at any time. Jeff McBride says 24/7. I'm older, so I would say 16/4, but it's the same idea. So in my wallet, which I carry with me at all times, I have probably 15 minutes of performing material. Now, this does not mean I'm going to do it. It just means I could do it if I choose to. I've never done all of the tricks in my wallet at the same time. Sometimes I would just do one, maybe two. But I know in my head that I can perform magic whenever I want to. And that's a feeling of power, and it's a feeling I like. So let's take a look at the latest piece of magic that I have added to my billfold. Well, I'm here with my friend Anthony Ellis, and thank you for being here. And I'm going to show you the latest piece of magic I have added to my wallet show. Now, I think a good piece of magic deserves a good introduction. And I want the introduction to stimulate Anthony's interest so that he participates more fully. So here, let's just do it, and then we'll talk about it. You know, Anthony, one of the reasons that magic works is that observation is very difficult, as I will show you with these two bills. I have a 20. Now, I have to tell you, when I do this for magicians, they always look at the corners. I don't know why, but they do. And a 1. So we're going to fold the 1 and also the 20. And Anthony, what I would like you to do is to extend your right hand, turn it palm downward, take the bills, don't squeeze them too tightly. What have you observed? How much money totally do you have in your hand?
$21.
$21. That's exactly what I would have said. Well, let me get in here without breaking your little finger, because people get possessive with other people's money. If I took the dollar, you would have the 20.
The 20.
Because that's what we've observed. I have the 20. You have the 1. And that's why magic works. So in that little presentation, which is a very short script, I begin with an idea. Why does magic work? Because observation is difficult, and we end with the same premise. So let's look at this trick. This is a trick I've been doing since right after I first became a professional magician in 1978. I began with the one that most everyone begins with, which is Grant's, UF Grant's slow motion bill change or bill transposition, slow motion bill transposition in Tarbell. And what that was this. It was a $1 bill that where you took this part of a 5 and you cut it out and pasted it on one side so that I would hold my hand over this end, and as I folded it, I would end up with a bill that had a 5 on this side and a 1 on this side. And I did this version for years and years and years. And now I had an interesting way of turning this bill around so that you could see that change. I would sometimes do this, and that kind of a turn, a twist, a little shaking, and then just a turnover. Eventually, I wanted to do something where that was just a little different than what the Grant version was. And so I came up with different versions. Eventually, Patrick Murphy in Chicago came up with a version where this panel wasn't glued to the bill. It was rather a piece of the corner with a little backing behind it so it was stiff, and this was held in place by magician soft wax, like Michael Lamar's magic wax that he uses for the card on the ceiling. That meant that at the end of the trick, this panel could be palmed off, and now the bill would be available for inspection. Well, different things have happened. One thing was that after we put this on the market as Eugene's Last Dollar, which it was called, the premise being that I had finally found the final solution, which of course never believe in final solutions, because magic as an art form, there's no end. We can always build a better mousetrap. So eventually the government came to the rescue of non-magicians and changed the color of the bills so that the method in Eugene's Last Dollar, the colors didn't quite match up. And so we took that off the market. And it was then, I was in San Francisco, and a magician called me up and wanted to have a session with me, and it was R.J. Owen, who was now playing the baby in Mystere in Las Vegas. And we had a great session together, and at the end of it he said, I'd like to show you a trick that you do. And he showed me the trick that I am going to teach you. And it flipped me out. R.J. was so good with that, and then he just gave me the bill. Eventually, now in the routine that R.J. had, which was based on work of Bob McAllister. Bob McAllister was a famous East Coast magician who did Wonderama TV show, and a delightful guy. Well, this was explained by Roger Klaus in his final group of DVDs before he passed away. that were put out by Houdini's Magic Shop in Las Vegas. What they had was a $5 bill and a $1 bill. And the routine that RJ gave me, the magician ended up with the smaller bill. And that I found a little troubling, because if you're doing a routine like I'm doing, based on observation, it doesn't matter who ends up with the larger bill. But if you're doing a routine, say, based on con men, then you don't want to end up with the smaller bill. You want to end up with the larger one. And it was my friend Bryce Kuhlman who solved the problem. Bryce is a genius in many ways. He has improved so many tricks that we do that it's quite amazing. Well, Bryce realized that if we changed the $5 bill to a $20 bill, the magician would always end up with the bigger bill. And so that is exactly what has been done here. I have this bill, and this come very close here. You can see that this bill has a flap. The 20 has a flap that can turn it into a 1. See? And we're going to talk about making that in a moment. For protection, I keep the gimmicked bill with the flap side out, not folded in, inside the $1 bill. And then this goes into my wallet. And it's like this so that this special bill is being protected. First of all, I'm going to show you the way this goes, and then we'll talk about constructing the bill itself. As I take the bills out, the first bill I want to show you is the gimmicked bill. And I begin with the bad side, that is to say, the side with the flap, toward you. But my fingers are kind of covering it. Not completely, but just a bit. And I don't give you a lot of chance to look around this. There it is. And of course, now part of the effectiveness is the casualness with which I handle these bills. I'm not being careful with them. I'm just throwing them on the table. And that's, I think, important because it gives the audience the sense that these are not special bills. And the same with the 1. I show that, and I throw that on the table, too. Now I'm going to fold the bills. First, I fold the 1, and I fold it very plainly like this, and I show you both sides with empty hands. And now I lay it on the table. I pick up the gimmicked bill with the flap side toward me, and I fold it and fold it, and now I can show you both sides. I'm showing you the regular side and the flap side and the regular side, but you're not getting a chance to stare at this. I'm just kind of showing it to you in this way so that you do see two 20s, but you don't get a chance to see a lot of anything else. Now, I put the gimmicked bill behind the non-gimmicked bill. And I say to Anthony, extend your hand. Well, almost everybody will do what Anthony just did. They will extend their hand palm upward. As he's doing that, here's what I'm doing. My right thumb contacts the flap and just flips it over. I'll do that again. As I'm holding it like this, and Anthony's, extending his hand, I just let that flap flip over, and now I've got a 1. Sometimes the best way to figure out how to handle something is to figure out where you want to end up. Where I'll now show you. I now say to Anthony, turn your hand over, and now I'm going to come under here. This is the real bill, and this bill on the other side is the bill, the 20 with the $1 flap visible. As I come under Anthony's hand, I turn everything over. So now what is on top is the $20 bill with the $1 flap showing. And under that is the normal $1 bill. And I come here, and I'm going to put it in his hand so that the flap itself is against this side of his hand, because that's how as you're going to see, that's how I'm going to want to take it out of his hand. So I come from here, turn it over, and say, just hold it, but not too tightly. And now I come away with empty hands and say, how much money totally do you think you have in your hand? And of course, Anthony says $21. And I say, why, that's what I would have said. And indeed it is. Now I'm going to remove the bill from Anthony's hand. I'm going to remove the bill with the fake flap. I come over here, and what I have to remove is the top bill. And I'm going to use my thumb to keep that flap in place. So I'm taking out the fake bill. See, my thumb is holding the flap in place, right? And now I come here, and to keep that flap down, I'm going to hold it with 2 fingers. I used to hold it like this, but sometimes this flap would kind of flop up a bit. So now I'm being a little more conservative and holding it with my 2 fingers, holding the whole flap down. So now Anthony sees a 1, and of course this is really a $20 bill. And I say, how much money do you have? $21, great. And I take the 1 and say, if I took the 1, you would have the 20. That's what we've observed. And now we're going to do this very slowly so you can see how this change goes. Under the cover of this movement, and this requires some rehearsal, I'm here with both fingers covering the flap, and I'm going to turn the bill upward so that now the flap opening is toward the bottom. And with my second finger here, I'm going to just flip it up. And once it's flipped up in place, I will stop and my hand will freeze so that you can see this 20. Okay? And it would look like this in real time. The 1 is showing. Now it's a 20. I turn the flap away from you, and I open this up, and I just throw it on the table and say, and you have the 1. And that's why magic works. Well, we've moved the camera behind me so that I can do this one more time, and you can have a much better view of what's going on. So let's go back to the beginning. The bills would be here. And I throw them on the table and say, one of the reasons magic works is that observation is very difficult, as I will show you with these 2 bills. And right here is my bad corner with the flap. I have a 20 starting here, and also a 1. Whoops. Here we go, on a 1. And I fold them up, and now I show you both sides of this with empty hands, lay the 1 on the table, pick up the 20, fold it, and show you again both sides. Put them together and ask Anthony to extend his hand, and as I say, turn it palm down, my thumb moves over and just flips the $1 flap in place. And now as I come under Anthony's hand, put your hand way up there, I'm going to just turn everything upside down so that the flap is now right there. And Anthony will grab it all. And now my hands are empty, and I say to him, what have you observed? How much money do you have? And he says $21, and I say that's what I would have said. And now as I remove this, I go for the top bill, and of course the flap opening is toward my thumb, so I use my thumb to keep that flap down. And now I'm going to change position so that my 2 fingers are covering the flap, so that one edge of it can't rise up above the other edge. And I say, if I took the 1, you would have the 20. At least that's what we've observed. And now I shake the bill. And in the shaking of the bill, I begin by first changing the orientation from this way to this way so that this finger, my second finger, can reach up, grab and move the flap in place. And this is done under the movement of the bill. Turn it sideways, and now the flap is turned, and I can show you the 20. And I can show you both sides of it. And now I open it up, covering the flap side, throw it on the table, and say, and you have the 1, and that's how magic works. So let's talk about constructing this monster. Well, to do this, you're going to need 2 20s and a $1 bill. And we're going to make a little flap here. And by doing that, first of all, we take this side of the 20. Well, let's do this. Let's fold the bill into eighths. And now let's just cut out that 20 right there. We're going to cut out the whole thing, a quarter or an eighth of the bill. And once we have that cut out, we're then going to remove the white border so that we end up with a little flap like this. Okay? Now, from the $1 bill, we're going to remove this corner. And again, the best way to do this is to fold it into eighths. And then to cut out the entire eighth panel right here, and then remove the white border so that I now have this. And if I take this and paste this like this, you see I have a 20, and over here I have a 1. A 20 and a 1. And if I fold these out and tape these to the 20 right here, you see, then, whoops, I have the flap here, because I'm going to glue this to this so that I have that as one piece only, and then I'm going to put now, I say put rubber cement because that is going to hold. Glue stick is not a good solution to make this because it only seems to last for a period of time, whereas rubber cement, if you let it dry completely on both sides, will be a much better bond. And so we're just going to paste this onto the bill. And then you end up with this. A bill that has a 20 and the flap can go up and turn that 20 into a 1. And there you are. And because we've changed the 5 bill, which is what McAllister and Roger Klaus had, to the 20, we're going to end up with the bigger bill at the end. This doesn't work with a 10. It doesn't work with certain bills. And that's what my friend Robert Charles and Bryce, who have experimented a lot with this, that's what they discovered. So this is it. I'll tell you, I think this is the best version I've come up upon of all of the versions I've tried with this. And I think what makes it so special is this visual change while you're just shaking the bill. And again, it would go from here, it would go, I'm in this position, bump, bump. I'm going to do it in slow motion. And now I transfer the bill into that position. And now this finger just comes up and changes it. And now I stop and I turn this away from the audience. So now it's toward me, and now I begin to open it up. I was doing this the other night, and in my enthusiasm, I snapped the bill and ripped this entire thing off, and didn't have another one here in Columbus. So what I did was, and this is kind of cool because it worked, I just put Scotch tape here, transparent tape. So this piece has been separated, and if you can see that little shiny part, that's the tape. When I get back to Chicago, of course, I will have one of my students make a new one for me, and I won't be snapping it so much. But the snap was part of the drama of it. But I think it was, after a while, I think I've been folding and unfolding this bill. Anthony asked me a minute ago how long I've had this bill, and I think at least 6 months. And I've been snapping it, and of course one day it just snapped off, and Eugene was in trouble. So that's the construction of this marvelous bill transposition. So we're looking again at the change. I'm holding the bill so that the flap is being held in place by 2 fingers, which means that neither end of the flap is going to be raised or visible. What I need to do is get the bill from this position to this position, because once it's here, I can use my second finger to flip the flap up, because the flap opening is down, and now I flip it up and stop. And now once you see the 20, I immediately turn it away from you so you see the other, except I was on the one side, sorry about that. That happens when you don't watch. So I'm here with the 1, and I'm going to start shaking it. Again, I'm doing this much slower than I would normally do so you can see what's happening. And then I get this bill now in the side position so that the flap is now down, the opening is down. And now my second finger just brings that flap up, and the minute it's in place, I freeze. And then turn it away from you and open the bill up. And that's how I snapped and broke the bill by just this dramatic little moment there. And then this comes here and throw it on the table. Well, that's this wonderful bill transposition. And I have to tell you, as I said, this is the newest thing I've added to my little wallet repertoire, and it's a wonderful, wonderful piece of magic. Now, if you have any questions in constructing this, feel free to email me. I answer all of my emails. It might take me a week or 2 if I'm on the road, so don't expect an instant answer. But if you have any serious questions about construction and this thing, I want you to be successful with it. Just email me and I will help you get through this, because this is a wonderful piece of magic to carry with us at all times. You know, if you want to keep an audience's attention, there are 2 ways to do it. Do magic with money, and they'll be attentive. Do magic with a gambling theme, and most people will be attentive. Money may bring everybody into the room, but con men and gambling will bring maybe 80% of the people into the room. And these are 2 themes that we should explore as magicians. Well, I want to thank my friend Anthony Ellis for being with me and doing this, and I hope that you find this to be one of your favorite pieces of magic, just as I am finding it to be one of mine. This is Eugene Berger. Thanks for sharing this, and good luck with your magic.